Okay, good morning everyone, and thanks for joining part two of this webinar series that's been focused on introducing you to engineered systems and today the Oracle Cloud. The inspiration behind these two webinars is to explain how these two deployment options from Oracle can and do help organizations modernize and innovate. So before I go on, a quick recap on who Explorer are. Explorer, we're an Oracle Platinum partner. For over 20 years now, we've been using Oracle technology to solve business problems, develop applications, whether they're bespoke, hosted in the cloud or on-premise, and provide a range of managed services and ad hoc consultancy, whether that be across commodity infrastructure or now engineered systems. And we're also the #1 Apex development consultancy in the UK. We've got an extremely popular blog full of information on various Oracle solutions from Apex to Exadata, so take a look at that whenever you can as well. Finally, last week we were awarded the Gold Award in the 2016 UK OUG Partner of the Year Awards for Database. That's 2 years in a row, and we also won Gold in the Systems category and silver in the training category, all voted for by our customers. So we're extremely grateful and pleased about those results. And thank you to everyone who voted for us, some of whom I know are on this webinar today. So thank you again. Most of you will be familiar with the Oracle stack, and we align ourselves with our experience and expertise with every layer on this stack, from application development with Apex down through the database, providing specialist services and selling engineered systems. And Oracle are really good at providing choice to customers too. So whether you're looking at staying on premise, moving to the public cloud, or interested in a hybrid cloud approach, we work with Oracle to deploy solutions in whatever form that you wish. And 2 weeks ago, I hosted part one of this webinar and asked this question: do you see Oracle as an enabler or blocker for innovation and modernization? And 75% of you voted that Oracle has been a blocker for modernization and innovation. And I wasn't surprised. I went on to explain that many organizations had experienced some challenges working with Oracle directly, and how partners like ourselves can provide an alternative approach to delivering projects. But no one I speak to ever questions the technology as being a blocker. Now, I don't want to repeat those slides because many of the audience here today were with us 2 weeks ago. But for those of you that weren't there, you can go to our website and watch part one here. So the cloud. The cloud is coming. Actually, no, the cloud isn't coming. It's already here. And cloud adoption of cloud services has been growing and maturing over the last decade. Back then, it was simply referred to as outsourcing and hosting, to be honest. But now, the cloud market is evolving, is becoming a very competitive space, which is great news for customers. But cloud still means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And Oracle define it as a complete and integrated set of layered technology and services. It's not just compute, storage, and network. That's just hosting. But unless you have complete control over every layer of the technology, customer adoption is going to be scattered across multiple clouds and on-premise. And as a business owner, this is a really important point. You will dilute or even reverse all the benefits of cloud computing if you start consuming cloud services from multiple providers. Integration will be difficult and costly. The sprawl of technology will be difficult to manage. Bottlenecks in performance and availability issues will present themselves. You will not gain any greater agility than what you had on site. So choose your cloud platform wisely. We covered engineered systems in the last webinar, and these systems are the answer to delivering on-premise private cloud environments. Extreme performance, rapid provisioning, simplified operational management to be able to deliver as a services inside your firewall. And the public cloud then being an extension to the private cloud infrastructure and used as a combination of shared but secure infrastructure or dedicated infrastructure for even better performance. But remember, it's the same management tools that are used to orchestrate both clouds, OEM. It's the same technology, the same products, the same standards, regardless whether you're on cloud or on premise. No one else can do this. And this is a slide that I used 2 weeks ago to explain why many organizations are struggling to get ahead of themselves. Stop the firefighting and start creating value to the business. And it's still relevant for this cloud message, because if organizations start to adopt public and hybrid cloud models from multiple vendors, then you're going to be back in the same position. Where's the value? For me, this is where the biggest challenge that organizations face when considering cloud. It isn't cost or security or availability. They will prove themselves. Your biggest challenge will be to break the status quo of how you deliver technology to the business. The traditional approach of best of breed for budget might just lead you in 101 different directions, subscribing to multiple services. Be careful. And this is where you want to get to. This is the promised land of what cloud looks like. Agility, operational efficiency, and providing you with a platform for new innovation. So if you want to test new software, if you want to scale services up and down, if you want to be able to enable or disable trash environments at will, you can do more in less time with less boundaries. This is the agility that cloud gives you. If you want, cloud gives you operational efficiency. So massive cost savings here, from just human hours to only paying for the services when you need them. There's many, many examples of operational efficiencies. A new innovation, developing new applications, integrations, insights into data, anything that you're restricted in doing on-premise due to not having the agility to create or even the budget to deliver. So what are these connected layers that I keep referring to? Infrastructure as a service, IaaS. And let's be honest here, Amazon have led the way in the infrastructure cloud space for the last 9 years. Oracle, however, also have an infrastructure as a service offering, and their second generation cloud is designed to leapfrog and usurp Amazon's #1 position. So make no mistake, Larry has them firmly in his sights and weapons are hot. Platform as a service. This is a multitude of subscription, metered and pay-as-you-go services, from database, middleware, BI, big data, documents, many more. And this is where the real value for me is, and a key differentiator to Amazon and Azure. The key difference between PaaS and infrastructure is that with PaaS you get all the cloud tooling to provision and stand up services faster than what you can do with infrastructure as a service. But with IaaS, you have a greater control over bespoke configurations, and you can have dedicated infrastructure with even better performance too. And SaaS, software as a service. This is actually where Oracle have been extremely successful for many, many years, longer than Amazon. But Oracle don't take cloud seriously, right? Wrong. From ERP to financials to CRM, entire businesses are running their enterprise applications in the Oracle Cloud as a service. So what does PaaS actually look like? Each of these capabilities offers a multitude of service offerings. There is no other organization in the world that has such a complete cloud platform across, one of these major areas. Under each of these categories is a best-in-class individual service as well. So you can easily stand these up on your own, or they can be used together with other services. So if you're running an Oracle database on-premise, you can run the same database technology in Oracle's cloud at a data center in the UK. If you use WebLogic, same thing. If you use Golden Gate, same thing. If you are an Oracle BI user, same thing. The list goes on. And these platform services, all use the same technology and the same standards in the cloud as they do on-premise. Why is this a really important point for you? Because it promotes 3 things. 1, it's simpler to move to the Oracle Cloud than any other service provider. For example, Amazon, because the building part is already done for you. The house is already there. You just have to move your stuff in. Integration and migration between clouds and on-premise is easy to achieve. It's the same technology. And finally, it means that you're not locked in. Think about it. It's actually quite hard to move away from other cloud providers because they've probably made that environment very bespoke to you, which took time and money. And ironically, you're actually more locked into Amazon than you will be with Oracle's own cloud platform. But PaaS is an extremely easy to use platform, and you do get results very fast and a very low cost point. End of story. Now, all these PaaS services that you saw previously, they're all available to trial for free for 30 days, so I would encourage you all to sign up or use Explorer's proof of concept cloud environment as well. Let's look at Oracle's infrastructure as a service now. There are many components that make up IaaS offerings from Oracle, but many of you will be familiar with the basic concepts of them. So I'm just going to skim through them. Obviously, any more detail required afterwards, we can always look at this as far as with our cloud workshops and our architecture review services. I'll come on to that later. Now, with compute, this offers you a shared general purpose or a dedicated compute for both x86 and Spark platforms with all the necessary storage and network resources. Storage, whether it be object storage, archive storage, or even database backup service, which, by the way, is a very low cost yet highly beneficial service if you're struggling with backups on premise. Really quick to trial and prove its use case as well. Network, VPN for compute and dedicated compute, as well as Fast Connect, which will enable you to create a high-speed, dedicated, low-latency extension to the cloud. And containers, comprehensive tooling to compose, deploy, orchestrate, and manage Docker containers on the Oracle Cloud. Revelo, this is a great service. This will enable you to migrate your VMware or other KVM workloads to the Oracle Cloud without any modifications to the VMs, network, or storage. It's a superb solution to realize further savings when moving to the Oracle Cloud because you get to remove an expensive VMware layer. And also imagine never having to have any concerns about Oracle license compliance with VMware. I'm only going to call a couple out on here, but these are really important ones to look at. Bare metal compute. This is an unrivaled performance, which includes servers with the latest generation of non-volatile memory SSDs, multiple millions of IOPS, ideal to run IO-intensive web applications or big data workloads as well. And a bare metal database service. So you get to leverage the full power of dedicated bare metal server, but with the simplified deployment and tooling that comes with the database cloud service. So this is ideal if you need performance intensive workloads and requirements that you don't want virtualization overheads on. So it's no secret that Oracle have hired the greatest minds in the industry that have been responsible for the success of cloud to date and given them, frankly, a blank check to do it better this time. And Oracle's R&D department is famous for this. And if there's any doubt in anyone's mind about how serious Oracle are about becoming the #1 enterprise cloud provider or their ability to beat Amazon in this IaaS space, then you just need to look at history. Oracle love playing the underdog, and they will get there. So Oracle's cloud, better availability. In the UK, it's 3 data centers, provide high availability with significant investment at a network layer, massive amounts of I/O transaction speeds and low latency. Faster performance, newer infrastructure, better technology, faster networks across virtualized and bare metal services, all contribute towards better performance. Twice as many cores, 10 times the I/O capacity. Let me touch on that networking point again, because Oracle have completely re-engineered how networking is done at a software-defined level. It means that it offers incredible performance, low latency, and high bandwidth within the availability domain and then within regions as well. There's unparalleled security. So all data is encrypted at rest and in transit. And Oracle have invested heavily in re-architecting this virtualized network, as I've touched on, and it allows for much better security. The biggest difference in securing the infrastructure is down to that software-defined networking and how they do virtualization. All of this at the lowest possible cost. And Oracle customers can really put Oracle to the test on this point. They simply will not be beaten on price when it comes to a like-for-like service comparison. And Oracle have never done this before. Finally, Oracle's cloud is completely open. Do not think that you can only run Oracle workloads on the Oracle Cloud. You're free to run any workload on the Oracle Cloud. SQL Server, Oracle, anything. There's even a MySQL cloud service, ideal for anyone running Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, LAMP stacks. But for the most part, though, it's going to be Oracle workloads that are going to be moved over first. And there is simply no better cloud platform to run Oracle workloads than in the Oracle Cloud. If I wasn't clear already, Oracle outperforms Amazon on every layer of infrastructure, let alone when you get to the platform services like database as a service. The fact is that you've got to do a lot of handcrafting, you've got to do a lot of rewrites, you've got to pay more, and you're going to get slower performance and have very questionable SLAs with AWS compared to Oracle. There are so many use cases looking at cloud. So let's call out some real problems that I've come across with my customers and some of the real solutions that cloud will offer. Now, the reality is that the cost of purchasing perpetual Oracle licenses on on-premise infrastructure is often seen as expensive. This perception often stifles innovation and service improvements because you're more than likely to have chosen the minimal number of licenses possible for your budget, and asking for more to play around with, sandboxing, no matter how well justified, it's almost always blocked. This in turn means that your Oracle investment becomes stale over time because of the expensive reputation that it's been given by your CIO and CFO. This self-perpetuates into an asset considered as not value for money because you've not been able to innovate, you've not been able to modernize. The real solution to this problem, database as a service. It's a low-cost solution ideal for test, dev, and UAT environments that you can stand up at will and shut down with agility. And with an OPEX cost model that's associated with it, it means that you're only paying for the licenses when you actually use them. And once you've clicked the stop button, it means that you're no longer being charged. This means that there's huge capex cost savings when comparing against, purchasing the equivalent on-premise licenses. So if you want to test database 12c options without impacting your 11G production environment, simple. If you want to test Golden Gate replication features, simple. If you want to develop an application in a safe and risk-free environment, simple. If you want to understand the new 12.2 features, simple. The list goes on. Another problem, server specs are increasing and they're improving at a considerable rate. And when I first started with working with Oracle licenses back in 2010, most customers of mine were deploying Oracle on dual core or quad core servers at best. Now with the Broadwell Intel chips that have been shipped with the high-end servers, these are 22 cores. This has a huge impact on the cost of Oracle licensing. And let's not get started on using VMware to reduce your exposure to the cost of this Oracle licensing. So the real solution in the cloud, you only need to choose the shape, which is a number of cores and memory that suits your requirements, not the spec of the server. This means that it maximizes your CPU utilization and it prevents overspend. The shape of your database instance can be scaled up and down and be turned on and off as you demand. Cloud for developers. So whether you're building Java apps or developing with Apex, the cloud gives you a low cost and low risk platform for rapid application development, DevOps and continuous integration. So once developed, you could deploy to live or you could bring back on premise. But you have complete control and flexibility. And developer agility is one of the main reasons for cloud adoption. Think of it this way. And I'm sure you've all experienced this within your businesses when tasked with new development. But from the idea to purchasing the kit needed to take, can take weeks or sometimes months. And to prepare, build, configure, optimize, it can take the same again. How are you meant to be agile enough to deliver for the business with this model and these restrictions? By contrast, you could be up and running with a new cloud environment in days and active with a clean development environment in minutes, shortens the development cycles significantly and providing results to the business a lot faster. Business analytics, big data, this is another rapidly growing and evolving challenge for organizations. The challenge with big data strategies is trying to find the value when you don't know what you're looking for. Therefore, large investments in infrastructure and software to start developing some early insights is difficult to justify. But cloud provides you with a flexible platform to get results fast and at a low price point, so that the risk of failure is mitigated significantly. I'm seeing this more and more as well, and I touched on it earlier, but 99% of organizations that use Oracle technology don't have the shelfware available for them to sandbox with. Cloud provides you with a self-contained, secure, risk-free environment to execute whatever you're trying to achieve. It could be testing new features or developing new code or deploying a business-critical enterprise application into a live production state. The Oracle Cloud can cater for the complete lifecycle of a project. Our cloud economics are pretty obvious. Reduction in facilities, infrastructure, and software costs. But the biggest cost savings or opportunity to avoid costs going up with other cloud providers is in its operations. So why take 726 steps to provision a database when you can do it in only 37? The magnitude in difference is that big. And it's not just the database where there's operational savings. Think of any operational cost that you have, and cloud services can simplify them. This is where you can start adding value to the business rather than fighting fires. There's three commercial models when it comes to cloud, to PaaS and IaaS. The first one is a subscription model. So previously referred to as non-metered, and you still might see some of this mentioned on Oracle's web pages, but it's now being called subscription. So this is ideal for predictable workloads, like production environments that don't spike. So if they do spike and you need to burst, you do so using the next option, which is metered. And metered is for volatile environments, or when you want to have complete agility and flexibility to scale up and scale down, or turn services on or turn them off. You're only charged for when they are on and used. You buy a block of credits from Explorer or Oracle, and then you burn these credits down as you start to consume cloud services. It offers you much more flexibility than a subscription service, but you do have an upfront investment. And 99% of the customers that we're dealing with combine metered with subscription for both production and non-production environments. That's the best blend. Finally, a pay-as-you-go model is also available. There's no upfront costs, but you build monthly for the services that you used, and it's list price only, so no discounts. So you do get discounts for the other two. This only lends itself to independence, I would say. So now you know how you pay for cloud services. What do you do with all the licenses that you own? And this point is only relevant really for PaaS, because the license to use PaaS services is the subscription itself. By contrast, infrastructure as a service like Amazon EC2 requires you to bring your own license. Now let's look at database licenses as an example, because this is where most of the businesses will start to dip their toe in the water. And I'm challenged quite often with this statement this question of how can you lower my Oracle support bill? No is the answer 100% of the time. I can't do it. No one can do it. The only way it can be done is by reducing what is supported, but that isn't what the customer asked for. Cloud, however, gives me the opportunity to lower or even remove support costs entirely. How? Two ways. Option one, we can freeze support for 2 or 3 years and commit to purchasing cloud credits instead. So this is ideal when timed right to avoid cost outlay for hardware refresh cycles. It's also ideal if you feel as if you want the flexibility of coming back on premise at some point in the future and reactivating support. It's what Oracle call their customer to cloud program. Option two, and I've had customers that have done this because some of them have got a very small support bill and some of them have got a very large support bill, but they've made the decision to migrate wholly to the cloud because it's made sense for them as a business. They've got a ready-made budget from their support bill, and the net difference is the Oracle spend was equal or less than what they were paying in support. The downside of this approach is that they have terminated all of their on-premise licenses. So if they ever want to run Oracle on-premise again, they will need to buy those licenses again. So you do have options, but consider them wisely. Again, discuss them with partners such as ourselves, and we can look at your environment and we can look at your licenses and provide you with the right guidance and the right advisory services on how best to technically move and commercially move to the cloud. So we've got a case study here An MDM, a customer of ours, and Explorer will be presenting this cloud case study at the Oracle Cloud Day on the 1st of November in London. It's going to be held at the Hilton Bankside Hotel, and I'm strongly recommending that you attend that if you want to discuss cloud further with either myself or any of my colleagues. We'll be there on the day. As well as Oracle, obviously. Oracle will be presenting a number of tracks, of which we're sponsoring the one of these tracks, and there's going to be sessions of all different types of topics, so there's going to be something there for everyone, I'm sure. So if you want to register, contact me or visit this URL. So I'm going to wrap up now, but in closing, I just wanted to let you know how Explorer can help with cloud and the challenge of moving to the cloud and from a technical or commercial model. So if I've sparked any interest in discussing cloud further, we offer these free services from workshops and architecture reviews through to proof of concepts. And my email and my web detail address are shown here, so please get in touch or follow us on Twitter as well. Finally, cloud.oracle.com is a great source of information for across all cloud services. There's great FAQ sections, there's clear documentation and how-to guides as well. So it's well worth a visit if you're going to continue your research. The idea behind this webinar was to give you some early insights into what the cloud is, how it differentiates itself to people like Amazon, which I'm sure many of you have considered or even using, and combined with engineered systems, how you can enable innovation and modernization within the data center back to the business. So at this point, if there are any questions, please submit them, and happy to answer them. Okay, so we've just got one here. How easy is it to move from Amazon to Oracle? How easy is it to move from an Amazon cloud to an Oracle cloud? To confirm, do you still need to buy your own licenses like with Amazon? Okay, good question. So platform as a service doesn't need any Oracle licenses that you have bought and you own at the moment to run your databases on your servers within your own server rooms or data centers. So platform as a service, you subscribe to it, and moving to that cloud service is just like you would do if you were moving or standing up new services. So the best advice would be, I would say, is use our technology workshops and our architecture review service, where we could come in, we can lift the lid on what you're running at the moment, and we can make some recommendations on how we would migrate that environment from an on-premise infrastructure to a cloud infrastructure. From a license point of view, like I said, with platform services, you don't need to bring your Oracle licenses with you, and that's when we would have that commercial conversation about what you should do with those licenses. If you wanted to move to a more of an infrastructure as a service model, that is where you would bring your licenses with you. So I hope I've answered that question. I've got another one here. Do Oracle expect everyone to move everything to the cloud? No, absolutely not. So we are in a period of coexistence, I would say. And anyone who's suggesting that cloud is right for everything, they've got a screw loose, because there are certain use cases where it's only really relevant to continue running on-premise, and then there's many other use cases where it's very relevant to consider cloud. So what is really important for Oracle technology and Oracle customers is that there is a choice of platform that will enable you to run on-premise environments, whether it be databases or applications, and also cloud environments, applications and databases, and being able to coexist together, being able to transition from cloud to on-prem and on-prem up to cloud seamlessly, being able to integrate, being able to share resources, being able to share information, and more importantly, not create any bottlenecks or lock-in. So that is exactly what Oracle have designed with their cloud infrastructure on-premise, which is engineered systems, and their cloud infrastructure in the public cloud. Why should I bother with Oracle Cloud if everything I have is currently on-premise? Okay. Well, it all comes down to the use case. So, for example, you may have all your database infrastructure and applications running in the cloud, but you might be struggling with backups. You could subscribe to a cloud backup service, which is a very low cost per month, and get instant benefit by subscribing to a very small cloud service. It might be that you want to look at test and dev environments. It might be that you want to build out a new application. It depends on what these user requirements actually are, and it's all about timing as well. So if you've just heavily invested in infrastructure on premise, then the business decision more than likely is going to say that you're going to stay on premise for the next 2 or 3 years to sweat that asset and get value from that investments that you've just made. If, however, you are coming around to a hardware refresh cycle, why spend that capex on servers and more Oracle licensing if server specs have increased? Why do that versus investing in a small amount of cloud credits on an annual basis that you can run those non-production or even production workloads in the cloud? Document cloud services for sharing and collaboration. It could be looking at big data. It could be mobilizing applications and looking at Oracle's mobile cloud service to get legacy applications from on-prem into the cloud. You might be running legacy Oracle Forms applications, and there might be new requirements around functionality and supportability, and you might want to look at an alternative development tool and deploy that in the cloud. And Apex and the Oracle Cloud is a very good answer to that. So I could go on with many use cases, but if everything's running on premise, you need to look at what the value and what the benefit would be if you looked at cloud. Again, we have the services to be able to take you on that journey, so to speak, from guidance and our advisory services, both technically and commercially. And I think that's it for questions. Unless there's any final ones about to drop in. Nope, I think that'll do. So, half an hour, which was what we were aiming for. So I hope you've gained something from this webinar, designed to be a quick introduction to Oracle's platform services and infrastructure services and how they compare with other cloud service providers and the benefit of using those in coexistence with on-premise infrastructure like engineered systems. So thank you for attending. You'll all get a copy of this recording in your emails, and stay tuned for future webinars to come. Our next webinar is penciled in for November, and that topic is going to be on big data. So hopefully we will see you there. Thank you.